So let's talk The Last of Us Episode 1, which finally aired on HBO Max last night. And as soon as it aired, I was on there watching it. I am a huge fan of The Last of Us series. I didn't really care for the second game too much, but the first game was definitely a masterpiece, and it definitely left a mark. Both games actually left a mark, and there are some incredible scenes in those games and some gameplay that you will never forget if you've ever played those games. And I'm going to keep this review as spoiler-free as possible. If you've played the games, you'll kind of understand a few of the things I'm going to be talking about. So let's talk about the cast first. The cast is pretty awesome here. We have Pedro Pascal is playing Joel, and his brother, Tommy, is played by Gabriel Luna. There's a good dynamic between these two characters as well, and what we get to meet in this episode is Pedro Pascal, Joel's daughter in this first episode. And I think this girl was amazing as his daughter. Her name is, in real life, her name is Nico Parker, but she plays Sarah. Now, when I played the game, I don't remember how Sarah died. All I remembered is that she died at the very, very beginning of the game. And what's interesting in this in this show is you get to spend some time with Sarah. You get to know her as a person, and even though she's in it for a very short time, you get to like this character. They picked a very likable girl to play his daughter, and they did a great job with bringing some life to her and not making her just two-dimensional. She was in the game because you don't get to spend any time with her. You jump right into the action right as soon as the game starts. Well, you get a little more backstory in this movie, and it starts in the show. I keep saying movie, in this show. And it starts with something taking place in 1969 where they talk about viruses versus fungus and some other stuff. And it leads into the event that happens in 2003, and then it jumps forward 20 years. So the first half an hour or so where we get to know his family was really well done. When everything goes down, it's pretty freaking intense, really emotional, really well done. After that, and this is where things get interesting, critics were gushing over this show, like overwhelmingly. It was like a 100% of people really liked the show. So I was very curious, is it really that good? The short answer is no, it's not as good as the critics say it is. The good news is it's still really good and one of the most faithful adaptations I've ever seen of a game. As soon as things, get to current time and the virus has been around for not the virus, the fungus has been around for 20 years, we get to see the remnants of what's happening. And I'm not going to get into spoilers here, but here's what I didn't really like about the show at this stage. It started to feel kind of like a Walking Dead knockoff with the different groups. And I remember the groups in the game and everything, but the way it's presented here, if you're just an average, I almost say moviegoer, but somebody who watches TV shows, you don't play the games, and you want to jump into this, I think a lot of it's going to be a little confusing. We've got these different factions of people. You don't quite know what's going on, but for the people who played the game, it's going to be just fine. If you've never played the games, it's going to feel a little bit like a Walking Dead knockoff. And they throw a lot at you, and it kind of moves pretty fast. Now, Ellie in this show is played by Bella Ramsey. Last time I saw her was in Game of Thrones, and she plays Ellie here. She does a great job playing this kind of spunky type version of Ellie, and everything seems to mesh pretty well. Now, the one thing we don't get in this first episode, we don't get really a great shot of the clickers, of the other creatures that are supposed to be in this. That's going to come up in the second episode. And this first episode, I want to say it was almost an hour and 20 minutes long, or something like that. It was quite long. They had a making-of featurette afterwards that I would recommend watching if you are going to watch it. But at the end of the day, this program, out of 5 stars, I would give it 3.5 based off of the first episode. It's not bad, but it's very faithful to the source material, but there wasn't enough to really judge the show on the first episode. I really think the critics were being overly generous with this. The acting is good. The actual scenery and they captured the games pretty freaking well. And if you watch the making of and the upcoming trailer for the next episode, you're going to see we're going to get a lot more of that in the next episode. So I am eager to see them move forward with this adaptation. I am going to be watching it. I hate the fact that we have to wait week to week. I really wish they would do what Netflix does and just drop all the episodes. I hate the week-to-week crap, especially if I'm going to be canceling the service. I may just come back when it's done and get it for a month and then cancel it again. I don't know. We'll see what's going to go on. We'll see if the show, I'll give it one more week, and if the show is keeping me interested, I will keep the service until maybe the show is over. So I am looking forward to it, but I don't think it's perfect. I think it's going to depend upon how the rest of this is going to go. And I do know that they said that they do plan on adapting both games into the TV series, but they're not going to go beyond what the games are. So they said they're not going to milk this. This was also created and done by the same people who did Chernobyl, which is the highest rated TV show that's ever been on TV, which I personally have never seen, but it's done by the same people, and there's a very serious nature to the show. Like, there's good weight to it. It's really well done, but overall, the episode did feel a little rushed, a little forced, and I wish they would have spent more time fleshing it out. I would have liked to have seen more time with Joel and his daughter, so that when she finally does get killed, that it could have been even more emotional. But they did the best job that they could with what they had. I think they want to try to move the story fast to get us into the action with the clickers and all the other stuff that's going to happen. But they do that at the expense of the beginning. And I'm glad it's not a straight adaptation of the game, because you would have spent no time with his daughter, which would have made her death really not that impactful. All right, so if you guys have seen it, what do you guys think of the first episode? I think it was good, but I didn't think it was stellar. I give it 3.5 out of 5 stars, but I am looking forward to the rest of it. All right, that's all I got for you right now. I should be doing another DC update, hopefully later today. There's quite a few things happening this week with the DC Universe, but we will see you guys on the next video.